The following program does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
The following pre-recorded program is brought to you by Vitruvian, a Texas-based registered investment advisor.
Now, let the uprising begin.
There are only two genders, and one of them is right here. It's the box that rocks. This is the Angela Box Show on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Hello, hello, hello once again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there. You're listening to the Angela Box Show. My voice is extra raspy today. I'm a little under the weather. There's something going around. I just keep fighting it with zinc and vitamin D and vitamin C and ivermectin. I'm popping ivermectin every day. You know, the horse dewormer. I've been popping that, but it just keeps rearing its head. I feel like I just need like a couple of days just to not talk, which the left would love that, by the way. But we are here, and there's a lot going on. I don't even know what I want to get to first, but I think let's give the sea turtle killing plastic straw to there's some, Puff Daddy news, some Sean Combs news. Trust me, we're getting to Helene. We're getting to the vice presidential debate. And by the way, spoiler alert, I've got some serious tea to spill about Senator Kneepads and someone in her campaign that is talking to people. And evidently there's quite a few moles in the Senator Kneepads campaign because she's a terrible, horrible person. As I've made the comparison before, she's very similar to the Meghan Markle. Both malignant narcissists, both abusive to people, both think they're better than anybody else. Both have like massive insecurities, which is why they put this facade forward that they're like the smartest feminists alive and whatever. Like they're just terrible. They're just awful people. And anyway, I've got a mole, and I've got a source that's talking to the mole in the Senator Kneepads campaign. We're going to get to that. But before we do that, we've got a local connection now to the Sean Combs brouhaha. This deep, dark rabbit hole that has taken over the entertainment industry that they're trying desperately not to talk about. Just like they're trying desperately not to talk about Jeffrey Epstein and the client list. And if you've been paying attention to things that Elon Musk has been doing, he sat down with Tucker Carlson a couple days ago, and he's like, yeah, there's quite a few people in the Billionaires Boys Club that are very afraid of a Trump victory. And there's a reason they're getting behind Senator Kneepads is because they don't want that Epstein client list revealed. And Tucker's like, do you think Reid Hoffman's on that list? And Reid Hoffman worked with Elon on PayPal, started LinkedIn. Elon's like, yeah, and Gates, meaning Bill Gates. So these are very nervous Nellies that when you see these men being interviewed, they're all on board for Senator Kneepads. And you have to wonder why. When you've got all these celebrities, all these people that read a script for a living and want to tell you how to vote, they're all like just panicked over the prospect of Trump coming back. That, threatening to leave the country. Tammy Tryhard, Taylor Swift is the latest. She's like, I'm going to leave the country. It's like, bye, Felicia, bye. Tom Hanks. There's rumors about him. Like, if you want to go down a deep, dark Tom Hanks rabbit hole, go on TikTok. You just put Tom Hanks' name in and pedophilia, and that's a whole rabbit hole there. I'm just putting out what's out there. I'm not saying he is or he isn't. I'm just saying there's some things something in the milk ain't clean. Let's put it that way. Anyway, all these people that are threatening to leave the country and threatening us with a good time, it's like you can just go. Like, no one will care. Anyway, there's a reason that they're trying to squash this P. Diddy thing. And I said about a month ago when this all came out, what are we coming up on? I said the over-under was October 16th for Diddy to be Epsteined. Hashtag Diddy didn't kill himself. He's still alive. And I think the reason he is alive is because evidently he's in this part of the jail, which it's the same jail that is so awful that the January 6th defendants, it's just horrific conditions. And, now all of a sudden that Diddy's in there, they're like, oh, this is just terrible conditions. Nobody should be kept in these kind of conditions, but it's okay to keep grandmas and pastors and veterans in jail with no trial for, 3.5 years. That's fine. I mean, we didn't fight a war over that or anything like that. But anyway, I digress. Diddy is in a part of this jail that evidently with high-profile defendants, people like Sam Bankman-Fried and others who cannot be put in the general population. So he's not necessarily in solitary. He's in this like dorm area. And I think that's saving his life right now because he's surrounded by other people. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to get to him. I think it's entirely possible he ends up dead, like sooner rather than later. But so far, he's not. Now, here's the local connection. This is wild to me and very cool and surprising. And I'm like, get him. Tony Buzbee, the man who defended Ken Paxton from the jackals and the hyenas of the Texas lawsuit reform and the Dade felons and the rhinos and the uniparty in the Texas House. Tony Buzbee, who is a dog with a bone, who does not play, a man who came from nothing, I will remind everybody, and who created a career and a persona and a footprint on this world, a man who matters, a man who is doing things that matter. He is now going to be the attorney of record for 120 Sean Combs accusers. Now, Buzbee came out and he said this. He basically said that, I'm trying to see. Oh, here's the quote. He's saying basically there's a list of names that is going to shock the public. And right now he's vetting these defendants. Plaintiffs. He's defending these accusers, vetting these accusers. Again, 120 of them, about 25 of them allegedly are underage or were underage when all these things happened. The youngest victim is a 9-year-old boy, okay? A 9-year-old boy when this went down. So he's vetting all of these accusers' stories. And he's basically saying, this tracks. These things are checking out. And more people are coming forward. So far, 3,000 people have done outcry statements. Now, Buzbee is going to be collecting all of their names because, again, he's the one that's going to be in charge of this class action lawsuit. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's just trying to make money off this. Like, look, both things can be true. Okay? And what I like about Buzbee and what I like about people who are righteous in what they are doing, when you are righteous in what you are doing and you are following the truth where it leads you, yeah, you're going to make some money off of it. Good. Because you're exposing really dark and really evil things. People and things that have been covered up for a very, very long time. And a bunch of these accusers, Buzbee said in the press conference last week, he said a lot of these accusers had gone to law enforcement, had gone to the FBI. Now, you have to ask yourself, if these people went years ago and were like, this is what's happening, these are the people involved, here's what happened to me, how come the FBI didn't do anything about it? How come law enforcement didn't do anything about it? And then you go down again the rabbit hole of the people who want Kamala Harris to be president, the people who are like freaking out, hair on fire, with the prospect of Trump coming back in, with the prospect of the Epstein client list being released. You gotta start wondering, okay? So here's what Buzbee said. We will expose the enablers who enable this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates. Many powerful people, many dirty secrets. The lawyer said that his team has collected pictures, video, and texts. The allegations will include violent sexual assaults or rape, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, dissemination of video recordings, sexual abuse of minors, and it's a long list already, but because of the nature of this case, we are going to make damn sure that we are right before we do that. The names will shock you. Now, this has been international news, all right? Buzbee coming forward, Buzbee being the attorney of record, he's not some ambulance chaser, okay? He's a very, very smart man. Again, Ken Paxton could have had his pick of many different lawyers in the state of Texas. He went with Tony Buzbee because Buzbee's a pit bull, All right? He ain't afraid. He don't play. Now, this is the Daily Mail headline. And again, this is when the Buzbee story broke. Diddy accused of abusing 9-year-old boy and spiking drinks with horse tranquilizer as 120 victims come forward with shocking claims. And Mike Flynn, General Mike Flynn, the one and only General Mike Flynn, this is his take. There are many who should be terrified at this revelation, and they must be held accountable. Do not let these disgusting humans get away with abusing God's children. The authorities should have Diddy on suicide watch. Again, if you don't want Diddy to be Epsteined, make sure to keep him in this dorm room situation. And I bet you at this point, even though he might not like being around all these other people, he's probably like, no, please keep me around these other people because I'm not suicidal. And what I pray happens is that he has some sort of a conversion, because I don't think that Diddy did this on his own. I think that, like Epstein, he was being used as a facilitator to get blackmail on people. I mean, yes, these people have fetishes. Yes, these people like to have sex with children. They evidently, in these freak-off parties, there's one allegation going around of a witness and a participant or a victim of these things that said that there were different rooms set up or different areas set up. Like, remember how Diddy's white parties, like in the early aughts, were like, oh, all these celebrities are going to the white party of Diddy, and you were all white, and that was the whole thing. It's like, it's very exclusive. I remember this. I remember like TMZ, Perez Hilton, D-listed, all the white parties were these big things. And evidently a lot of stuff went on at these white parties. So in certain areas, there are, people that have fetishes of like to have sex with blood, or people that like to have sex with animals, or people that like to have sex with children. All of these things are going on. And ladies and gentlemen, all of this was being filmed. So Diddy, even though he's sick and twisted and awful and evil, and evidently lots of other people are too, he was a facilitator. He was probably an asset of our government or other governments getting dirt on these people so they can be controlled, just like Jeffrey Epstein was. All right, let's get into the tea when we come back in the third segment. In the second segment, we've got Fired Up to Vote's Amy Huggins, who's going to tell you how you can get involved. And in the third segment, I've got some tea to spill about Senator Kneepads. And then, of course, we've got to get into the Hurricane Helene response. You're listening to the Angela Box Show. We'll be right back.
Armed and ready. This is the Angela Box Show on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Welcome back to the Angela Box Show. On the line, I have Fired Up to Vote's founder, Amy Huggins. And I wanted to bring her on because obviously we've got a massive, massive election coming up. This may be the last election we actually have before the illegal aliens overwhelm us all. But I wanted to bring her on because it's so important that everybody get registered to vote and fired up to vote. So welcome, Amy.
Hello.
Hello. So tell me a little bit about Fired Up to Vote, how you started it, and what the purpose is.
So the purpose of Fired Up to Vote is to educate and mobilize voters in Harris County so that we can have robust participation in every single election. And the whole philosophy behind it is friend to friend, peer to peer, get out the vote effort. So if the research shows that if a friend or somebody you respect encourages you to vote, a person is much more likely to vote. And we realized that many, many people in Harris County do not vote, and we really need to improve the turnout. And so our platform lets anybody, you, me, anybody with a cell phone basically can join our platform and input a list of their friends that they are hoping will vote. And then during early voting, they can check that list each day and see if their friends actually did vote, because the county publishes information daily to show who votes each day.
Is it an app that people can download, or what is it exactly?
It's actually, you use it on your computer at this point. It is not an app. It is a program on a computer, and you join by going to fireduptovote.com, and you join, and you're able to establish an account. And then within the account, you add in just the names of the people that you want to encourage to vote, whether that's friends or neighbors or someone in your Bible study or in your bridge club. And then you can check each day during early voting to see if they've voted. And we send text messages to the people who have accounts that they can share with their friends with friendly information like links to voting locations and poll hours of operation, because a lot of people just don't know. They don't know where they can vote. They don't know when they can vote. They don't know that it's important to vote in every single race on the ballot, and that there are 70 of them this time.
Right.
And so our goal is to educate common sense, fundamentals of government voters to get to the polls and vote, and to have lots of confidence that that our votes matter. Every vote really does matter. It
does, and I like this idea. So basically, everyone has their individual list of friends or contacts, and it's like it's like I open an account. Okay, I'm putting on all my friends' names, and then every day I can go on the Harris County voter registrar and see if they voted, and then you guys will send out a text or an email saying, okay, here's the copy paste and send this to your contacts, correct?
Correct. Yes, but you do not have to go on Harris County. Fired Up to Vote does that for you. You just log into your account on our website, and it will show you who on your list has voted.
That's really, really cool. What interesting technology there.
Yeah, so it's very much like every single politician I've ever heard speak says, get 10 of your friends to vote. And this is a way to do that and be like a mini precinct chair without ever leaving your house.
Yeah,
I love that. You can do all of this from your house.
I love that. And so, again, it's fireduptovote.com, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so in Harris County, traditionally, there's just been extremely low voter turnout. And y'all are nonpartisan. It's kind of like True the Vote has always been nonpartisan, promoting election integrity. And you're just promoting voter participation, because this is, as a citizen of the United States, this is like the number one thing. This is our duty to do. If you're tired of seeing the absolute garbage that they're shoving onto us, whether it's local, state, federal, you've got to get off your butts and vote. And don't say, oh, I don't like this candidate or I don't like that candidate. It's like, look, it's a binary choice at this point, guys. So if you don't like how things are going, you can't keep voting for the people that are giving you the crap that you don't like. So whatever that is in your mind, you need to go and make sure your voice is heard.
Correct. I completely agree with you. And that is our point. Our whole goal is education, motivation, to educate voters, to educate them about the issues, to educate them about the candidates, to educate them about how to vote, where to vote, when to vote, and to allow you to know if your friends actually vote. The reason we started this is we were involved. I was involved with helping somebody run for office, and after she lost by very, very few votes, we did some research and realized that so many people who said that they would vote didn't vote. And we thought, oh my goodness, we need to do something about this. And so this idea, some school board groups have used this, out in Spring Branch have used this, and out in Cy-Fair have done this, and then the research just supports the fact that friend to friend, get out the vote efforts are really effective. In fact, Tucker Carlson has been talking about one that started in Michigan called 10X Votes, and it's been talked about on Steve Bannon's War Room. It's a very similar program to what we're doing.
That's great.
So it works.
Yeah,
very exciting.
It's in Turning Point Action's doing the same thing. Ballot chasing, RNC's doing it. Democrats, the reason Democrats are so successful at their get out the vote is because, for whatever reason, Democrats have fewer barriers to tell people, like, get your butt out to vote. Like, Republicans seem to kind of want to stay to themselves and not want to bug people, but it's like, no, we need to take a page from the Democrats. We need to acknowledge what they do right, and that is they're able to turn their voters out. And, Republicans need to do the same thing. So, again, even though your organization is nonpartisan, certainly we as liberty-minded people have got to realize that this experiment, this republic that we have, that Benjamin Franklin said, if we can keep it, we've got to get on board and make sure that we keep it, because it's falling apart in front of our faces.
Yes, and Thomas Jefferson said, we in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate.
Yeah.
And so typically the turnout in presidential years is quite high, but it is very important for people who go to vote every race on the whole ballot. Don't just vote at the top of the ticket for president and senator and then leave. Vote for every race. Every single one of them is important. And there are more than 60 local races on the ballot this year. And our local government is so important. It affects us every single day.
Yeah, I mean, look at it like an adventure. It's like, okay, I get to see my ballot. And like, I'm going to be in here for a few minutes, and I'm going to make sure that I'm participating in every single election. All right, again, how can people find out how to sign up for Turnout to Vote?
If they would like to get involved with Fired Up to Vote, go to www.fireduptovote.com.
fireduptovote.com.
And there's a Join Us button, and just click on that, and you will be on your way. It's very simple.
Thank you, Amy Huggins. Fireduptovote.com, everybody. You're listening to the Angela Box Show. I'll be right back.
Fighting for the conservative cause. It's the Box that rocks. Angela Box on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Okay, so we are watching the implosion of Senator Kneepads' campaign and her political career. And again, it's really, God can only be mocked for so long, and karma will come. There's only so much BS the American people are going to stomach. And I think what we're watching with Kamala Harris in her campaign is kind of a manifestation of the karma. And it's funny to watch Joe Biden all of a sudden feeling himself and, like, totally throwing her under the bus. Like, just basically hamstringing her, saying, oh, yeah, she's like 100%. She was integral in all the decisions I've made in destroying this country. Like, she was right there with me. And, she's now starting to do interviews because, of course, she won't take unscripted interviews. And everyone saw what happened last week when her teleprompter malfunctioned. And it's like her brain broke. You could see the exact moment. Corey, did you see it? Just nod your head if you saw the teleprompter malfunction. He didn't know what I'm talking about. Go look that up, because you just go put into X teleprompter malfunction. She's at a rally, and she's like, 32 days. She puts on her black lady accent. 32 days. Yeah, we got 32 days. And then her teleprompter goes out, and she goes, uh-huh. And she's quiet, and the crowd gets quiet, and she goes, so anyway, 32 days. That's all we got left, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it was hilarious to watch her brain break in real time. Hilarious. The woman is a moron, all right? But as I say, she's dumb and she's arrogant. And what do I always say? Dumb and arrogant is a dangerous combination. So if she doesn't have something scripted in front of her, or she's not sitting in front of an extremely sycophantic reporter like Stephanie Rule or Howard Stern or now even 60 Minutes, and we're going to get to that in a minute. If she's not sitting in front of those kind of reporters, she just falls apart. Now, I'll get to the tea. I promise I will get to the tea. But we got to talk real quick about this 60 Minutes interview, because it was the first time that she had to actually answer some real questions, and you could tell she was pissed. And my source, who has a Mole Insider campaign, can co-sign that she was absolutely livid, because she didn't think the 60 Minutes was going to actually ask her some questions. I mean, they set her in front of a black reporter, so she's like, okay, one of my homies, he's not going to ask me any real questions. And it's like, actually, he committed, a rare act of journalism and was actually asking her some substantive questions. And he wasn't just kissing her butt for, 30 minutes. So she was pissed. But 60 Minutes, true to form, because they're propagandists, they put out some of her responses. And people are like they gave a preview of her 60 Minutes interview. And people are looking at this thing and like, oh, my God, this woman's a moron. Like, she's a moron. This woman cannot be president of the United States. How is she vice president of the United States? How is she a heartbeat away from the presidency? So they put out some unedited footage. And then when it got around X enough and it got around the zeitgeist of the culture, the population, people were like, this woman is an idiot. They went back and they edited her response when it comes to the Netanyahu situation and Israel's response to Islamic terror, essentially. And, of course, the anniversary of October 7th was just the other day. And if y'all didn't hear about, somewhere in Texas there was almost a terrorist attack at a church. And two Muslim-looking guys with turbans in their heads casing the joint with guns, and some armed guards came out in this church and shot them, and they ran away. But they were trying to make an October 7th thing happen here in Texas. But once again, good guys with guns stop bad guys with guns. But that's a whole other side issue. The 60 Minutes people, they realized we can't allow this interview to stand on its own because it's really bad. It's not a good look. She looks like an idiot. So they edited her responses. They cobbled together some responses that she said in regards to Netanyahu and Israel. Like, literally, he asked a question, the reporter asked a question, and then they threw in some stuff that she said about an entirely different question. And people caught it, and they were like, no, we got receipts. And they did a before and after of what 60 Minutes did. Like, again, you don't hate the media enough. You do not hate the media enough. Now, let me get to this delicious, delicious tea that I have from someone who is very dialed in on the inside. Let me tell you the story of how this happened. I was on X a week or so ago. It was before the Tim Walz debate with J.D. Vance, when, J.D. Vance just very politely broke Tim Walz. We also, Tim Walz nodding along with J.D. Vance, and everyone's like, I think Tim Walz is going to vote for J.D. Vance at this point after this debate, because it's like, he was just like, yeah, I totally agree with you on everything. It was really wild to watch. And I'm sure Senator Kneepads her hair was on fire during that, and that's what my source is saying. So I was on X, and I saw this one tweet from a guy, smaller account, but he basically was like, I've got a source in the DNC that is basically saying that Kamala's campaign is completely imploding, that they're at each other's throats, it's bad, it's going to get worse, like, you guys are, this thing is going down in flames. And he's like, and I'm not the only one who knows this. So I reached out to him, followed him, he followed me back. I reached out to him, I was like, hey, what can you tell me about this DNC source? Because I want to know. Like, I'm just seeing, like, is this guy legit, or is he just making this up? And he's like, I cannot disclose about who my source is, but he was Linda Sanchez's bodyguard earlier. I'm not sure who that is, but basically he's saying he's met Kamala as she insisted on being called. And you remember now, if you call her Kamala, you're a racist because you're not saying Kamala. But he was like, no, she was going by Kamala because she was identifying as Indian American. Like, this woman, again, total fraud. Anyway, but he was giving his bona fides. He's worked in investigation security at the highest levels. I mean, he sounds legit. Okay, so this is the tea, all right? He has friends everywhere, he says. And it sounds to me that he probably has friends like on our security detail or Secret Service or something like that, because this is very close to the source information, it sounds like. This is the quote from him. She is in free fall. She's lashing out at staff, sounds like Hillary, and blaming Tim Walz. The prostituter thing sent her over the rails. These two are not getting along. Now, in the vice presidential debate, there was a Freudian slip that Tim Walz made. and called her a prostituter as opposed to a prosecutor. So, I mean, it's like, was it a Freudian slip or did he mean to do that? Their campaign is in complete chaos. The tension between her and him is at a fever pitch. She thinks, and again, dumb and arrogant, she's Meghan Markle. So if you understand the template of Meghan Markle as being a terrible human being and awful to everybody, in the Hollywood Reporter article that came out about her and Prince Harry a few weeks ago, is just set her over the rails. I mean, basically just like ripping off the Band-Aids. Like, no, this woman is a terrible, horrible human being. If you understand that Kamala Harris is the same, like they're just the same people. Anyway, she thinks she's done everything perfectly, and he's the reason she's down in the internals. I actually feel sorry for the poor bastard because he was nervous for the debate, mostly because he knew that no matter what happened, she'd say he blew it to rationalize her failings. And something else is he's being told that Tim Walz wants to quit. And something big is coming. Don't know what it is for sure. And then talks about how her internal polls have her basically 13 to 15 points underwater, which tracks with what came out a few days ago in Elise Slotkin allowed that Zoom meeting to get leaked. Elise Slotkin is running, she's a congressman running for Senate in Michigan, saying that, yeah, she's like, 13 to, they didn't say 13 to 15 points. That's what my source is saying. Elise Slotkin is saying she's underwater in Michigan. Now, underwater doesn't mean 1 or 2 points down to me. Underwater means at least 5 points down. I think her internal polls are terrible, which is why they're doing these now. She's like, the source is also saying that Kamala is changing her polling agencies. The people that are doing her internals are changing their polling metrics to basically make her feel better because they're so bad. So they're just going to pad it with even more Democrat voters or even more, MSNBC watchers and CNN watchers. And that brings me to what happened on Isaiah Carey show last night. I'm taping this on Wednesday, went on Tuesday, and we were talking about weather manipulation, and we're going to have to push this probably to the next segment, the last segment. But it's wild to me when I go on Isaiah's show, and I love Isaiah, and I love the staff, and I love the crew, and I love being on with Ron Reynolds, as I said, and I haven't seen Ron since probably January. He's busy. I've been busy, but we got a chance to do a segment last night. And it's amazing to me what it's either the production staff or the people at the top, the things they allow to go out on the air and the things they don't allow to go out on the air. Like talking about how that there's all this misinformation being put out about Hurricane Helene and FEMA giving all the money to illegals and how they're saying that's all misinformation. I'm like, whoa. No, we got receipts. So they're pretending like, all is rosy and great in the Kamala Harris campaign and that she's going to, wipe the floor with Trump. Again, the lying, the purposeful lying. And so we've got pollsters in Kamala's team now, like just lying to her straight up because she wants to be told that she's still doing well. So it's going to be an interesting month, guys. So I'm going to have more from that source throughout the month, I hope, because he's got some good tea to spill. When we get back, we're going to do Helene, we're going to do government response, and some weather manipulation. You're listening to the Angela Buck Show. I'll be right back.
People and Kneepads are groaning because the box that rocks is doing it again. It's the Angela Buck Show on AM 1070 and FM 103.3. The Answer.
All right, so I went on the Isaiah Factor last night, Tuesday night, and we were talking about this Marjorie Taylor Greene tweet that she put out there. Now, Marjorie is based, like she's my girl, and, she's basically our AOC. She's very reviled on the left. She's very loved by conservatives. Not loved by rhinos, obviously, not loved by the Liz Cheneys of the world, but loved by me, and she's based. Anyway, she put out a tweet that basically said, our government is manipulating the weather. There's a reason that these hurricanes are just absolutely beyond devastating. And the whole premise of the segment was, oh, she's crazy. I'm like, oh, is she? So I went down a little rabbit hole yesterday when I found out what the segment was. And I got to give credit where credit is due. Alex Jones has a whole episode about weather wars. I highly recommend going to find that on Infowars.com. And then on X, there was an account, it was a TikTok, and a guy basically put in, the post of his TikTok. And he said, listen, there's this website called geoengineeringwatch.org. Geoengineeringwatch.org. And he's like, I found some very curious things on this. So these people it's wild to me because out of the one side of their mouths, they're like, man is causing climate change, right? Man can control the weather when it comes to climate change. That cow farts and trash and landfills or whatever, and you drinking too much water out of plastic bottles, that's causing climate change. But at the same time, this idea that the government is geoengineering our weather, that's crazy. Well, if you understand that these things are happening, and the Geoengineering Watch is basically a list of the thousands of patents or hundreds of patents that our government has issued to inventors over the years and then co-opted that technology, basically things that can cloud seed and control the weather, create storms, make hurricanes bigger, make hurricanes less impactful, etc. If you understand that our government can do that, does it not then make sense to understand that these people who want to control everything about us are saying that man is causing climate change, so therefore you should give more of your freedom over to the government, give more of your money over to the government knows best, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a real rabbit hole. Now, I will say this. If you had told me, just like I've said this before, if you had told me 6, 7, 8 years ago that I would think that Dick Cheney's evil and George W. Bush is evil when I went to the mat for the Bush administration, the administration that the same people now that are kissing his butt and thanking Dick Cheney of all people for being on the side of Kamala Harris, like acting like they didn't literally call him Hitler. Before they called Trump Hitler, they called Bush and Cheney Hitler. I'm old enough to remember that, by the way. Calling them war criminals and all the things they said. Now all of a sudden they love George W. Bush and Dick Cheney because they're supporting Kamala Harris. They're trying to stop Trump. All hands on deck to stop Trump. Again, if you had told me years ago that I would have thought these people were evil, I would have thought you were crazy. Just like, what we all experienced during COVID opened a lot of people's eyes to what the government is really doing. And when we saw, for example, like people that were just normal people who got their kids vaccinated, did the whole childhood vaccination schedule. I mean, I got all my vaccines. I'm sure you listening to the show, you got your vaccines. It wasn't a thing. We thought anti-vaxxers were crazy people until what they did to us in COVID. And when they demonized hydroxychloroquine, when they demonized ivermectin, when they told you that you had to wear a mask even though there's no scientific basis on wearing a mask, it's kabuki theater to ramp up the fear. When you saw how Democrat governors, Cuomo, Newsom, Wolf, Murphy, and Whitmer, all these governors, and Tim Walz, by the way, putting sick people into nursing homes in order to jack up the death rate because it was going to kill old people the most. People are like, whoa. Maybe there's something to these conspiracy theory rabbit holes. And I said last night, I'm like, if you're not a conspiracy theorist at this point, like, what the hell's the matter with you? So anyway, let's get to this geoengineering stuff. Because the whole premise of the segment was, this is crazy talk. Marjorie Taylor Greene is crazy. I'm like, oh, no. I got receipts, and I brought the receipts. So on this website, again, 42 pages long. 42. I was going to print the whole thing out. I was like, I'm not wasting all that ink. It's 42 pages long. But you can go and look yourself on geoengineeringwatch.org. These are just some of the things that I found. The first patent to control the weather. August 6, 1913. It's a rainmaker. A patent was issued for a rainmaker. It's like, what? In 1918, process and apparatus for procuring and stimulating rainfall. 1920, process and apparatus for the production of intense artificial clouds, fogs, or mists. 1951, process for controlling weather. 1956, control of tropical cyclone formation. What does that sound like to you? It sounds like they can create hurricanes. 1956, process for weather control. And then let's get to some more recent ones. 2008, method for controlling hurricanes. 2008, machine to get rid of hurricanes. Now, okay, so let's stipulate that all these patents are real. This is a real thing. And then look at the response to Hurricane Helene. Look at the response to what's coming in Florida, Hurricane Milton. We now know that FEMA, the organization, the government organization that's supposed to dole out money to people impacted by natural disasters, they've gone full woke and full illegal alien coddling. They want to disperse money if you're, depending on your, your grievance hierarchy, whether you're LGBTQ or BIPOC or whatever. They want to, that's how they're going to dole out the money, number one. Number two, they've spent all their money on illegal aliens. And again, this is the kind of thing that's mind-blowing to me, because the premise of the segment last night was, this misinformation going around that FEMA is giving money to illegals. It's like, it's literally on their website. Hello, knock, knock. Is anybody here? Does anyone want to do some real journalism here and go to FEMA's website and see what we're talking about here? I mean, go to Stephen Miller, America First Legal's X account. He has a 10-part post on X about this, about just how much money the government is pulling from FEMA to give to illegals. And then you've got Biden and Mayorkas, these evil people. Oh, whoops, there's no more money. It's gonna have to be up to the American private citizens to help these people out. And then here's more mind-blowing stuff. Again, if we didn't have X, if we didn't have an open and free X, you would not be hearing any of this, which is why they want to get rid of Elon Musk and deport him now. There's video after video of people coming forward and being like, FEMA is stopping private donations from getting to the people in need. There's a video of a helicopter, this black ops helicopter that doesn't have any markings on it, which is illegal because you have to have markings on the helicopter in order for the FAA to track it. But there's a staging area of thousands and thousands of dollars of supplies that the government didn't get ready. Private citizens, groups like Samaritan's Purse, which is a great organization to donate to. Don't donate to the Red Cross. Don't donate to FEMA. Give to Samaritan's Purse, because they're actually getting the supplies to people. So anyway, this helicopter is basically doing a run to destroy the supplies, doing this, and they go low enough that the blowback from the helicopter blows thousands and thousands of dollars worth of supplies, just destroys them. And people have got this on video, and they're like, who are these people? And they look up, and these people are wearing masks. Again, the helicopter's not marked, and then it goes off. It's like, okay, what is going on here? Okay? And then you've got dirtbags like David Axelrod, who's saying the quiet part out loud, saying, people in Asheville, which is, our territory, which is where the Democrats live in North Carolina, those people are smart enough to be able to, they'll be able to make their way to the polls. But, those people in the mountains, those people that are trapped in the mountains that FEMA's not rescuing, that FEMA is preventing private helicopters from going to get, which is what's happening. Oh, those Trump voters, they might have a hard time getting to the polls. It's like, okay, guys, you tell me where, if our government is not actively trying to make these hurricanes worse and then shifting them to areas that are going to be impacted for the election. I mean, hey, I am a total conspiracy theorist, and I 100% believe this is happening. But, you do your own research. Again, geoengineeringwatch.org. Go look it up for yourself if you think I'm crazy. All right, I'm getting the wrap it up box from Corey. That's my time. I'll see you guys next week. You've been listening to The Angela Box Show. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking names. Peace!